loud as I can be early in the morning, and if you can't hear me in the back, please raise your hand, and I'll turn the volume up a notch or two. Welcome to St. John's Church. Welcome to my neighborhood. I'm pleased to welcome you all to Church Hill. I live right down the street. My name is Tucker McNeil. I'm the chair of the Richmond Business Council Cabinet, and we're thrilled to have all of you here today, and especially thrilled to have the mayor here to talk to us about what's going on in the city. I recognize that this is a place of great and historic oratory. You're not going to get any of that from me today. I'm going to leave that to the mayor. I'm also a speechwriter by trade, which means that generally speaking, I like to have other people where I am right now. So I'm going to try and do the best I can to get out of the way here. But I do want to introduce you to a few things and people. First of all, the Richmond Business Council in general. As many of you know, we're the advocacy arm for Richmond of the Chamber of Commerce, of the Richmond Chamber of Commerce. And we want to be involved in a number of issues that are important to you, that are important to the city, and that's one of the reasons that we're here today in the East End. Some of you know that we've focused much of our efforts on getting to know a lot of the issues that are happening on the East End, housing issues, transportation issues, poverty issues, and many others. The mayor's focused on the 25th Street 9-mile corridor, which is just a handful of blocks north of here, and I think you'll hear more about that from him today. But this is an area that we want to be focused in. A number of other organizations in town are focused here on the East End as well. So I encourage you, if you're members of those organizations or others, to consider the important things that are happening in this end of town and what can be done to help a lot of the folks that live here. Also wanted to introduce a few people, VIPs and other special guests that are with us today. I know that, where's Lee? I know Lee Downey. Great, thank you very much for being here. Lee's the Director of Economic Development for the City of Richmond. Also, Tammy Hawley and Cheryl Ivy Green are both here from the Mayor's office, and we appreciate their attendance. Tammy's outside, she can't hear me. But another important VIP is someone also from just down the street, Bob Buffington. He provided breakfast this morning. You've probably heard of Captain Buzzy's. Bob's the purveyor of Captain Buzzy's. It's on East Broad and 26th, I think. And he's a great neighborhood asset. I hope that if you didn't get a chance to talk to Bob on the way in, you'll take the chance to talk to him on the way out. We're really thrilled that he was able to cater breakfast for us this morning. And also we have two folks here from St. John's Church, both Laura Insco and Kate Penninger. We're thrilled to be here and wanted to give them a chance to address us quickly. So Laura, would you please kick things off from St. John's Church?
I just want to say welcome to the Chamber. We're delighted that you're here. I'm the rector of St. John's Church, and we're very excited to have you here. And what Tucker said is correct. There's a tremendous amount going on in the East End right now, so this is a good place to focus. And Kate Penninger is our executive director of St. John's Church Foundation.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to St. John's Church. St. John's Church is an active Episcopal church, as you know from meeting the rector. It's also a National Historic Landmark because this is the original location of Patrick Henry's Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech. And that speech was given to a convention of delegates, men like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Richard Henry Lee, all these names that leap from our history books, who were meeting to organize their protests against the mother country. So when Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty," what he was crying out for was the individual rights and liberties that we still hold very dear today. Things like the right to representation in government, right to a trial by a jury of one's peers, due process of the law, things that have been codified into our National Bill of Rights. So as a site of national importance, we welcome over 40,000 visitors a year from all across our nation. So St. John's Church is an important economic resource to the Richmond community through its contribution to the heritage tourism industry. We also are an educational resource because the history that occurred here is studied in the Virginia Standards of Learning. It's studied in our history through every school district in our country. It's studied at the elementary level, middle school, high school. We also want to give back to our community because we want to be a good citizen. And we partner with our corporate sponsors like Wells Fargo, Midwest Vaco, and Dominion to give free tours to underprivileged students. So we see every elementary school and middle school in the Richmond public school system. They come here for a free program. And we are now beginning to reach out to the schools in eastern Henrico County. And the teachers tell us that this really makes a difference to their kids, that it brings this history to life for them, that they can see a greater learning and greater understanding of the subject matter. So I'd like to take the moment because there's two things that I hear consistently. I've been working here for over 10 years, and one is at our summer reenactment program, we'll have people come running up the sidewalk and they'll say, I'm here from California, I'm from Oregon, I'll never be here again, I've got to get in to see this. And then as I'm standing at the door thanking people for coming, I hear, wow, that was awesome. You know, I've lived in Richmond all my life and I've never been here. And I have to tell you, I've heard that at least 5 times this morning. So I would love to extend an invitation to all of you. Our summer season of reenactments begin May 27th, the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, and they are run every Sunday through Labor Day weekend. It's a free program, so please bring your family, bring your relatives, bring your neighbors, and come and see the reenactment. You'll really be astounded by what's going on here in Richmond. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay. I'm one of the guilty. I've never been here for the reenactment, but I know some people that have come multiple times. I know it must be good. I'll be here this summer, I promise. Also want to thank our sponsors. We have a few sponsors that are with us all year. Joining us this morning on behalf of Bank of America is Joel Martin, Vice President of Business Banking. Joel, can you raise your hand? There he is. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Also from the Richmond Times-Dispatch is Jacob Geiger. He's the editor of Work at Richmond. Jacob, raise your hand. I hope you're getting these daily emails. They're pretty helpful. Also, our gift sponsor, Expressions by Design. Thank you to Elizabeth Johnson. And our breakfast sponsors this morning are FWB and UPS. They both made it possible for us to enjoy Captain Buzzies and wanted to invite my friend, colleague, and incoming chair of the Richmond Business Council, Brian Harding from UPS, to say a few words.
Thanks, everybody. I did wear my brown sport coat today. It's required. So I wanted to thank Tucker and everybody for the shameless plug. We have some wonderful sponsors up here, and of course, with every sponsorship, hopefully comes a return. So please consider that when you're doing business back in your offices. I wanted to take a particular moment just to thank Bob this morning. Great Churchill business that was able to kind of bring it into our house, or say your house, right? And provide some great coffee and breakfast for us this morning. So I don't see Bob. He said he was coming over. He might be still tending the shop, but please thank him for his patronage this morning when you see him afterwards. And please go to Captain Buzzies. It really is a great place to get some work done and enjoy a great cup of coffee. I wanted to just briefly touch on the outreach committee, which is working to connect the local shops in Churchill, specifically the 9-mile 25th Street corridor. City Councilman Cynthia Newbile we met with last year, and she expressed a need for a collaborative business presence to complement the emerging transformation plan. And for those of you that are familiar with the area, I lived here for 3 years. And it's very evident from where we've been to where we are now and where we're headed. So as a native Richmonder, I'm very excited with the progress on this side of town. Also want to thank Bonds and Coors, who's playing a key role here. The Bonds and Coors Richmond Community Hospital, if you don't know it, is the largest employer in the area, and it's greatly invested in the cause. I believe Pete McCourt is here. Pete, I didn't get a chance to meet you this morning, but Pete's the administrative director from Bonds and Coors, and he's here with us today representing a great organization. So I appreciate your support on the East End. The Business Council will be sitting down with Bonds and Coors in the next month or so to really see how we can blend our efforts. We're very much not about reinventing the wheel. Let's bring all the collaborative parties together and get some stuff done. We're looking for additional manpower for this outreach committee. committee to see our initiatives through. If you're interested in serving on the outreach committee with the Richmond Business Council, I urge you to grab myself, Tucker, one of our peer council members, and please express that interest. It's very personally gratifying when we get to sit down with Ms. Duval, great organizations like Bon Secours, and ultimately the mayor, and talk about the vision of the East End and where it's headed. So, both professionally and personally, it's a wonderful experience. I urge you to get engaged. So, with that, I'm just going to turn it back to Tucker.
Thank you, Brian. There really is a lot of great stuff happening over here. I know the mayor will hopefully talk about this, but he was here either yesterday or the day before at Chimborazo Elementary, dedicating a new rain garden there. They're going to looking to expand Chimborazo Elementary into a international baccalaureate program. They're doing great work there. So there's really a lot of exciting things happening. And Bon Secours really is a leader in the area, and the business council is excited to kind of get to know more of the things that are happening and kind of grab onto some folks' tailwinds and tail feathers to help in the effort. So wanted to get to one more item of business before we get to the main event, and that is to introduce our chamber volunteer of the month. I'm thrilled that this happens to be happening during this month because Patty's a friend of mine, and I have enjoyed seeing her at so many chamber events. If you are a dedicated chamber event attendee, I guarantee you shake hands with Patty at least 5 or 6 times a year. She is at the door of almost every chamber event as an ambassador. Many of you know Patty Krasuski as the I think managing editor of the Henrico Citizen. And she does great work there. She does equally great work for the chamber. I'm thrilled that I don't want to overstep my bounds. I feel like this is like a lifetime achievement award. It's not a volunteer of the month award. She's just done so much for the chamber, and she's a friendly and familiar face for all of us. And would like to invite her up to say a few words as volunteer of the month. Patty Krasuski. Oh, sorry.
I said Krasuski the first time I saw it. I always get a kick out of telling how I got involved with the chamber because once upon a time I had some pretty absurd ideas about this group. I didn't get into the chamber for the networking like a lot of people, although, in all modesty, I am the consummate networker. Do you know I once introduced Corey Humphrey to his mother? I got into the chamber because while I was an at-home mom for 13 years, I volunteered in my daughter's schools. I became active in PTA and other child advocacy and education groups. And after I returned to the work world and went to a chamber meeting or two, I was surprised to learn that the chamber is an advocate for a passion of mine, early childhood education. And I say surprised because I thought of chamber types as stuffy old guys in suits who only care about their bottom line, or guys straight out of the old Richmond light bulb joke. So imagine my shock when I started going to chamber events and I met all these people like you who are forward thinking and community minded and into making Richmond a better place. Which leads me to another thing I like about the chamber, the regional focus. Most of you have heard me make my little joke about being bi-county. I live in Chesterfield County and I work for the Henrico paper. I also spend almost all my social life in the city, and I'm a wannabe Richmond resident. But what most of you don't know about me is I'm a military brat. I've lived all over, both while growing up and while I was a corporate wife for 30 years. I got used to being a nomad. I never thought I'd like living in one place for longer than a few years, until I came to Richmond. And now, 22 years later, I challenge you to find a born and bred, blue blood, great-granddaddy, fought in the Civil War, native Richmonder who loves this place more than I do. And I didn't fall in love with Chesterfield or Henrico or Richmond. Now, I had daughters who played travel soccer and AAU basketball, so I was all over the region. 2 of my 3 went to Maggie Walker, which is one of the best examples of regional cooperation in the area. And in the chamber, I learned, we also have a great advocate of regional cooperation. So I didn't originally get into the chamber to network and build relationships and make friends, but that turned one of the best things about being involved, just the same. Do you know that when I held my blood donation birthday party a couple of years ago, about half the people who showed up at VBS were chamber friends? The VBS party is just one example of the good times I've had being involved with the chamber. And that's why, to tell the truth, the first emotion I felt when I learned I was Volunteer of the Month was embarrassment. I'm embarrassed to be in this elite group with all these hardworking people, because I have too much fun with the chamber to call this work. It's kind of like the question I always get with my Richmond Marathon jacket. People say, "Did you run?" And I'll say, "No, I was a course marshal. I did this for 2 hours." And at the chamber, I show up, I say good morning, I shake hands, it's grueling. But then again, he says we can't have fun while making Richmond a better place. So on that note, I'll close, but first, if there are any stuffy old guys in suits, I sure wish you'd come introduce yourself because I'm still looking for one. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Patty, for those great thoughts as well as for everything you do for the chamber. We really appreciate it. Now, as I said for the main event, there are so many great things happening in Richmond. Some of the things that Patty mentioned, many of the things that we work on at the Chamber, the Richmond Business Council, and that many of you work on every day. And at the heart of all of those things is our mayor. He doesn't need an introduction. He's the leader of our city. He's doing a great job, and we're really thrilled to be able to hear from him today about what he's working on, hopefully here in the East End as well as all over the city and the region. Things like the bicycling championships that are coming in a couple of years, the Richmond Riverfront redevelopment plan, economic development all around the city. There's great things happening, and we're thrilled to have him here. This is a place that he's going to feel even more comfortable than I do, so I'm going to get him up right now, Mayor Dwight Jones.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Tucker. It's a delight to be here and to be a part of the Chamber and the Business Council. We have a great chamber in the city of Richmond, a great business community that does so much to partner with us to move the city forward. And I just want to thank you for all that you do. We had a wonderful inner-city visit to Boston. I want to thank the Chamber for arranging that and facilitating that. The two tracks were innovation and education. I had an opportunity for at least a part of the day to be on the education track, and it was absolutely fantastic. So we thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Laura, for your welcome here. I always wanted to stand with Patrick Henry stood. Now I get a shot at it, so it's an opportunity to be in this great historic place. Richmond is a great city, and you've heard a lot of enthusiasm today for the East End, but I find that everywhere I go. I find that people are interested and enthused about the city of Richmond. People are excited about our past, but they're more excited about our future, and they're excited about the fact that we're moving in the right direction. And I find that wherever I go. And as the mayor, I began talking about Richmond being a Tier 1 city. And that's because I believe that if you don't say it or speak it, you'll never become it. And so we're beginning to speak about being a Tier 1 city because we believe that we're well on our way to being a Tier 1 city. I'm just going to spend a few minutes. I was given actually 30 minutes. I promise you that I won't take 30 minutes. And as a good preacher, I never tell you how long I'm going to talk anyway. A Tier 1 city is a city that is well managed and a city that has some goals to even be better managed in the future. Those of you who don't have anything to do might have an opportunity to look at Richmond City Council on television, and I tell people when they say that they look at Richmond City Council all the time, I say, you better get a life. That's all you have time to do is look at Richmond City Council, but so many people do, and if you had an opportunity to look at it on this Monday night, you saw theater, drama, flavor at its best. But when you think about it, that's what democracy is all about. It's right, it's about getting down to the neighborhood level and allowing people to say what they want to say, even if they say it every month, the same thing. We allow them to do that, and we did our budget on this Monday night, and my staff is breathing much easier because that's probably the biggest administrative task that we have. And so we want to thank the Richmond Business Council for supporting the budget as submitted, including the support for the riverfront plan and our plan to transform public housing. And I'll say a word about that a little bit later on. I'm excited about the budget. I'm excited about our challenges, but I'm also more excited about our opportunities here in the city of Richmond. We've had the opportunity because of a one-time windfall of some money that was owed to us to do some exciting things. And one of the things we were able to do is to add in this budget $5 million to begin implementation of our incredible riverfront plan. We've been working on a riverfront plan, many charrettes, many community meetings, and people are excited about the greatest natural resource that we have, which is the James River. The only problem is that we don't have much access to it. And so when we did this plan, it became apparent to me that we could begin to provide access to the river, and not with a high cost. Some of these things are really affordable. And so we put $5 million in the budget to build some terraces on the river so that people can actually get down to the river and feel the midst of the James and not just see it from afar. We also put $14 million in the budget this year for the renovation of the Landmark Theater. I didn't really realize, Lee, how bad it was until I saw some pictures in the newspaper about some really bad things that are going on in the Landmark Theater. And the Landmark Theater is one of the venues that is helping us to make Richmond a Tier 1 city. The Broadway in Richmond project has been absolutely successful with the Lion King. I believe I'm right there. I'm sure there's somebody in this group who can correct me. But in the Lion King, I'm told that we collected $5 million for a 30-day run, and the economic impact is about $19 million. And so that's the kind of thing we want to continue to perpetuate. We're investing $14 million in a $50 million project with the philanthropy of our corporate partners as well as with tax grants. We're also building a justice center, and that is going on even now. After much talk, the Justice Center is actually on its way up. We have 4 schools under construction. These schools are community schools, which means that they will be open non-traditional hours. They will be open late in the evening so that people will be able to meet their children after school, and children will have a safe haven and a productive educational environment when their parents are at work. We'll be bringing the city services out to the neighborhoods rather than people having to come to the city to get the city services. Of course, we're doing roadway paving, sidewalks, bike lanes. We're building miles and miles of shallows as we continue to promote cycling in the city of Richmond. We're going to do our own industrial park along Commerce Road. We have decided to take advantage of some of our wonderful natural resources there, and we're looking forward to doing that, as well as continuing to develop our port. And the city owns a short line railroad, and so we're looking forward to revenue generation from the port as we continue with that endeavor. We have added $1.9 million, David, for infrastructure improvement as we get ready for UCI. The cycling championships, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. We have a lot of work to do to get ready for that, not just with people, but also with infrastructure, bike lanes, the Capitol Trail, etc. And so we're making plans even now for what's going to happen in 2015. We put in $1.7 million to expedite completion of the Canal Walk. A wonderful opportunity has been made available to us with the Reynolds property, and we're going to take advantage of that by providing infrastructure for the development that we know that's going to take place, not only on the north side, but also eventually on the south side. We continue to work on making sure that our facilities are upgraded, such as City Hall, the John Marshall Courthouse. And also, we have put a significant amount of money in the budget this year to improve our 311 call center, which is how people reach us when they have a pothole, which I hear a lot about as mayor of the city of Richmond. We also have a project that I'm concerned about and really excited about, and that is Shoppo Bottom improvement. We have put money in the budget this year to turn the farmers market into somewhat of a European plaza. That's going to be in addition to the $26 million, which is the final piece of the renovation of the Main Street station, which is going to be our multimodal transportation hub. And that is going to provide an opportunity for us to have a tourism center, also a market somewhat modeled after the markets in Philadelphia, Baltimore, with specialty items. The plaza will allow the restaurants to have outdoor dining, and also will allow for festivals to take place, but it will be in such a manner that it is not permanent. And it also begins, for those of us that are in the Churchill area, East End area, it begins the opportunity for us to open up shop and slip to Church Hill, to Broad Street. And so you'll begin to be able to see from Broad Street what's going on in the slip, and from the slip what's going on Broad Street. And so we're very excited about those things that are going on in the CIP budget. And then in the general budget, we're excited about some things that we're doing. They're not exciting in terms of being sexy, but they're necessary. We have money in this budget for alternatives to incarceration, because when we knew that we had to build the Justice Center, because if you saw the expose on the jail, you know that nobody needs to be in conditions that are inhumane, no matter what their crime, or no matter what their position in life. And so we are building the Justice Center, but we're not building a huge Justice Center, because we believe that many people who are in the jail don't belong there. Mentally ill, low-level drug offenders, people who are in the jail because they have not paid child support, need to put an ankle bracelet on, go to work so that they can pay their child support. And so we're trying to build a smaller jail, and for this budget, we've put money in there for alternatives to incarceration, which will allow us to create a mental health docket and also provide the ankle bracelets and the alternatives that will hopefully reduce our jail population. One of the problems of the city is blight abatement, and so we also have money in this budget to deal with blight abatement. We're also helped by the General Assembly this year with some legislation that will allow us to be a little bit more assertive as it relates to job abatement. We also have money in the budget this year for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, because we recognize that we've got to replace our housing stock and provide a place for our policemen and our school teachers to work at to live at an affordable rate. We also are providing money in this budget for lighting improvements for our school fields, so that our young people will be able to play sports after the sun goes down. And also the relocation associated with the Boulevard property that we own, 60 acres on the Boulevard. And we want to relocate some of our activities there to get ready for the possibility of baseball in the future. One of the great things we did was we were able to pay off a lot of our, or some of our high interest debt, and interest, which has given us the opportunity to do some of the things that I've just mentioned. And Peter Chapman just came in. He is very excited, as are all of us, about the fact that we're going to be breaking ground very soon on the first phase of the Dove Street redevelopment, revitalization. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later on as well. I think that a lot of you may be interested in what's going on with our schools and the debate that is going on, or was going on, beginning a few months ago, when the schools presented us with a $23.8 million problem from the school board. They came to us and said that they needed $23.8 million for their budget, and we began to go to work immediately, to become proactive and go to work to see if we could not resolve the problem. The thing that we kept in mind was that we wanted to prioritize children and to prioritize classroom instruction as we dealt with this huge gap that we had from the school system. And we wanted to do that by asking the school board to do some efficiencies that we thought would close the gap. We're focused on ensuring that all of the available dollars that we were able to find would find their way into the classroom and teachers, and not be invisibly used for things that we could do without. We are together on the fact that we want to improve educational outcomes for all of our students. And so the first thing we did was to put together a task force, and this task force was a group of business leaders who came up with some very strong business practices that I believe provide a blueprint to allow us to close the gap. And I want to thank the Chamber for supporting the work of the task force, even monetarily, because we had to hire a consultant. And one of the good things about being mayor of Richmond is that the business community is absolutely fantastic, proactive, and always willing to step up to the plate to make sure the things that we need are provided. So thank you so much for supporting the review of our school system and realizing that it's a prudent investment because we all know that our schools provide the anchor for a thriving community, and no community is going to be strong unless our schools are strong. Secondly, in addition to the task force, city council worked with me, and together we went to find money in our budget. And so what we did was we actually took a 1% across the board cut of all city activities to give to schools. Because the schools were saying that they would have to do a 3-day furlough, lay off some teachers, lay off some aides, and reject the payment for health insurance for pre-Medicare families was going to be burdensome. And so we rejected all of those hypotheses, and we determined that we had to find some money, if not all of the money. So we rejected those ideas, and we found money in the budget to the tune of 1% of our entire budget. Now that is going to provide some real challenges for us in the year to come. We thought that it was important enough to do that. We also put another $1.2 million in an educational improvement fund in the school's foundation to be used for excellent educational programs. And I believe that with the added funding we provided the school system, they are going to be in a position to implement a plan that educates children but avoids the actions that I just mentioned. All told, the schools are going to receive $129.4 million from the city for 2013, and this is an increase of $5.6 million from the current year. This is in addition to the $23.8 million in state distributed sales tax relief that they received. And we were happy to find out from the state that there was an additional $1.9 million in additional state funds. So all told, the schools will get a 4.5% increase. Now, this is important to understand because no other agency or department in the city has received anything because we're in a period of flat funding. Also, it is at a time when our employees have not received a raise for the last 4 years. And so we were handling the problem, but I think that we have handled it in a way that is responsible, and we want to thank the business community for assisting us in that regard. We've done our job by providing available funding. Now the school system, the school board, has the responsibility to make sure that those funds are spent in a responsible way. The short-term recommendations of the task force were some simple things such as in-house transportation to reduce the number of routes and reduce overtime hours for existing employees. We believe that we can save almost $750,000 by doing that. We want them to engage in managed competition for plant management services. We believe that we can save several $1 million by doing that. We want them to look at food service. We want them to look at some of the ideas they had, like giving a bonus in these times when it just is not something that we're able to do. And so we have given them the guidelines and the blueprint to move forward, and we believe that if they follow that blueprint, that everything will allow us to move forward with the excellent job that all of our teachers and the school system is doing. So we thank you for your support in that regard, and we will continue to work with the school system to make sure that they have everything they need. As I close, let me just tell you that Friday is Bike to Work Day, and so Patty, you need to move to Richmond so you can bike to work. And I invite you to join me at 7 o'clock in Monroe Park as we get on our bikes and go to work. And we're busy promoting alternative means of transportation. mindful of the transportation challenges that we have in the city of Richmond, particularly as they relate to the issues of poverty. We've been analyzing the relationship between public transit and employment. The lack of access to public transportation, the available jobs, is having a direct impact on the city's poverty rate. And so we are talking with our partners in the region, trying to find ways to increase public transportation. We were able to find a way for GRTC to expand its services along the 4 key corridors of the city. The percentage of low-skilled job services serviced in the region would increase from 37% to 71%. Those corridors are 250, Route 1, Route 60, and Route 360. These are jobs that are a myriad of jobs that would be available if we could just get those hubs working. And so we're going to continue to talk with our regional partners to make sure that we remain a city of opportunity and not a city of missed opportunity. Also, I want to say, as I almost close, is that we're getting ready for the UCI championships. David Coleman over here is one of the reasons that we have the opportunity to have the UCI championships that will be here in 2015. And many of you may not realize how big a deal this is, but this is not just a Richmond race, but we will actually be representing the United States of America in the entire world for these races. And we're expecting some 400,000 on-site spectators and $135 million in economic impact for these races. And so we're excited about the team that we've been able to put together. We've just hired Peter Floor, who is the former CEO of King's Dominion, who's going to be our director for these races. And we also have some very high-powered co-chairs. We asked Senator Mark Warner and Governor McDonald to be heads of the committee. They came back and said, no, we want to be co-chairs. And so now, in addition to Tom Farrell and myself, we have 4 co-chairs. And so it's me, Tom Farrell, the governor, and the senator. That's a pretty high-powered co-chair bench. And so we're looking forward to this wonderful opportunity. The budget's about $25 million. We have a lot of fundraising to do, but I'm very encouraged by some of the early gifts that have been made known to me that have not been made public, that we're going to reach our goal, and that Richmond will be on display for the entire world to see in 2015. And we're soliciting the support of the chamber and all of the businesses, but not only the businesses, we're going to need the support of all of the members of the community, because this is a 9-day event that is going to require all of us to be a part of it and not just spectators. And so we're looking forward to that wonderful opportunity in 2015. I know that the Business Council has some interest in being involved, and Peter Chapman has just informed me that we're going to form a task force that will provide that opportunity for smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses to get involved in the UCI championships for 2015. And we'll certainly, Tucker, let you guys know about how we can access that wonderful opportunity, because we know that we need the big dollars, but we also need everybody to be involved in order for this to be a success. So thank you so much for all that you do. The East End is a wonderful place, and I wanted to just say that we are deeply appreciative to Bon Secours for their partnership with us in the East End initiative. I did not mention the fact that one of our great visions is to radically redefine public housing in the city of Richmond. We have concentrated poverty that is unacceptable, and that unacceptable public housing has got to be transformed. And so we also, and I did mention, have money in the budget this year to begin the pre-development process for Creighton Court and Wickham Court, two of the courts. We have pre-development money to begin the process of radically transforming public housing as we know it in the city of Richmond. That is something that has to be done. It's a long-term goal, but we want to put the wheels in motion to make sure that we transform those neighborhoods, return them to the tax rolls, and give people an opportunity to live in good, decent neighborhoods. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. sharing all of those thoughts with us. I did want to just say one or two quick things before we get you out of here early today. And one is that the Business Council has, many of you may have noticed, sort of trimmed down our calendar of events throughout the year and really focused on signature events that we hope will be interesting and valuable to our members. This is one of them, obviously having the chance to hear directly from the mayor, including a question and answer session. Our Teacher of the Year breakfast is one of our greatest events of the year, Principal for a Day. So we've gotten rid of the sort of monthly, month in and month out breakfasts that frankly were becoming a bit rote, and tried to focus on signature events. So I would just encourage you all to continue to come to our signature events and also bring new folks, the chance to hear from the mayor, celebrate some of Richmond's best teachers. These are great opportunities, and hope you'll take those opportunities to bring clients or colleagues or friends or family members so that we can continue to build an audience for what we hope will be very good events. I also had a couple of other chamber announcements before we go. The Governor's Bowl. Governor McDonald has challenged the Chambers of Commerce in a food drive. Hopefully you've seen word about this in our newsletter or elsewhere, but please join us in this effort to feed hungry residents of Richmond region. This is an issue that can get lost, but at times, like we've been experiencing over the last couple of years, I know food banks in many cases are dwindling in their supplies. So please join us for that. You can go online at feedmore.org. I hope that you all are familiar with Feedmore and the Central Virginia Food Bank. Hope that you'll join the chamber in supporting that effort. And also Summerfest, if you like attending events and programs with local and elected appointed officials, sort of like we've done today, this is a more informal opportunity to network in the Richmond region. So hope that you will join us for Summerfest. Is there a date on that?
June 5th.
June 5th. Thank you. I gotta work on those eyes in the back of my head. The next event for the RBC will be a joint event with Hype. So many of you, all of you look like you are young professionals. So I think this will be perfect for you. It's going to be at Sample. It's a great bar in Uptown, in downtown Richmond. We'll have the chance to, Hype, hopefully is helping young professionals engage in the chamber. We're going to have a joint event with them. It should be energetic and fun. And again, you all look like you qualify. So it should be a lot of fun. Thank you all very much for coming out today. Again, thank you very much to the mayor and to Kay and Laura for having us here at St. John's Church. I would encourage you, if you have a moment before you leave, we're wrapping up a few minutes early. Feel free to go down the street and grab another cup of coffee at Buzzy's. Let's not all go at once, it's a small place, but head down there for a cup of coffee. But take a quick drive around the East End if you have a few moments. It's a great area. There's some beautiful places, some historic homes. I hope you'll take a chance to get to know the area if this is one of your first trips into town. Thank you all so much for coming. Have a great day.